Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of Sasquatch Theory. And on today's podcast, we have 4 different interviews, and I think you guys are really going to enjoy them. The audio on some of these interviews is a little rough, but what can you do, guys? Sometimes I get into these interviews and people start banging things around. Maybe they're using a Bluetooth headset, or they got me on speakerphone, and yeah, by then it's already too late. In the first interview, we have Kenny from the Catskill Mountains in New York. The second one is Kimberly from North Carolina. And the third one is Russell from Missouri. And the fourth interview is another Russell from Missouri who had an experience in Alabama. All right, guys, let's just dive straight into these Bigfoot interviews. Let's go. Kenny, welcome to Sasquatch Theory. How are you doing today?
I'm doing all right in New York City, enjoying the nice weather.
Yeah, very nice. Same here. Kenny, if you would, tell us a little bit about yourself and your Bigfoot encounter from the very beginning, please.
Absolutely. So I'm 42 years old. I'm Trini, Indian, and Liberian, West African. I currently live in New York City. And at the time of the encounter, I was in the Catskills on a family trip that lasted about a week. So the exact date of the encounter was it was February 21st. We were in the Catskills for actually my birthday weekend. And we were returning home on the Sunday. Again, this was in 2001, so about 2 years ago. And the location of where our cabin was Akron, New York, which is south of Albany and north of Poughkeepsie. At the time, we were driving. It was about 5 a.m. in the morning. There was some snowfall the night before, but it was raining at the time, so it was a bit slushy. So we were headed south on I-82. And I'm just like staring out the window as I always do. Being a New York City boy, whenever I get a chance to like just be in a flush wooded area, that's what I do. I just gaze out the window and stare at the woods. All of a sudden, this hulking, massive figure came out of the tree line. And I'm staring at it. I'm just like, I can't believe what I'm seeing with my eyes. Like, it just completely took my breath away. It walked towards the road and crouched down. It crouched down and like made itself as compact as possible. I think just to look less conspicuous. When I think back to like seeing it, like the narcissist in me was like, wait, maybe it saw me and that's why it crouched down like that. When in reality, it looked like it was probably just crossing the road. It was just trying to make itself as small as possible for maybe like, oncoming traffic. I would say that there weren't many cars on the road because it was very early in the morning. And again, it was raining pretty heavy. And I just remember like what's burned in my memory is just how massive it was. Like I would have to say about like 8 to 9 feet ttall. Anywhere maybe between 600-700 pounds. I've been interested in cryptids like Loch Ness Monster, Bigfoot since I was in middle school. So I do have like an awareness of Sasquatch. I saw the Patty video. So it's like I knew what I was seeing. I knew it wasn't a bear because the way that it walked so smoothly was not like how when a bear walks upright, it looks like a toddler walking for the first time, right? It's like very like forward and kind of clunky. This was just like very smooth. Like it knew exactly where it was going, knew exactly what it was doing. And it was kind of like a dingy black, covered in hair. And there was like a tuft of hair like on the top of its head, like that made it look a little bit pointy. And I just remember how massive the arms looked. And like I saw it for maybe about like 6 to 7 seconds. Because I yelled to my brother, I was like, oh my God, like, do you see what I'm seeing? And like, he was just like focused on the road. You know, he has his kids in the car as well. So, and it was raining. And I was just like, oh, can we stop? Can we stop? And he's like, hell no. And he just kept going. And I'm just like, what the hell did I just see? Knowing what I just saw, but I was just like in disbelief. That area, when I like thinking back to the encounter, I'm like, where we were staying, they were like, you know, there was kind of spread out. Like the neighbors weren't like pretty close. You could see the next house, but there was a lot of space. But you could also see mountains. And then like after doing some research, there's like Mountain Ridge State Park, Mount Washington State Forest, Bass Fish Falls, Mount Ross. There's a lot of like mountainous areas in that specific location. So that was more of like for me to say like this could have been a being in this area that I saw. Trying to think if there's anything else to add. No, that's about it.
Okay, yeah, it sounds like it was a pretty quick encounter. Did you happen to see what color the creature was? Did you say it was black?
Yeah, it was like a dingy black, like almost like a really dark gray.
And you said it had a conical shaped head, like a point at the top.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think like the skull had a point. I think that it looked like a tuft of hair.
Okay.
Like a thick tuft of hair was like pointing up.
Yeah, and it was the only figure that you saw. Did you get the impression that there was maybe more around?
No. I mean, whether or not there was more in the woods waiting for, and I can't be for certain that it was male or female. Like I couldn't see the detail of the chest so much. It's like the Patty video where you can see like there's breast. But I just remember it being massive enough that I just assumed it was a male. But I think it was crossing the road. I don't know if it was giving a signal or, you know, supporting others across the road, but that's what info I have on that.
Did it look like it left any tracks? Well, I guess I'm sure it did, but you said it was pretty slushy out.
Yeah, given that it was slushy and that it was raining at the time, and how big it was, I would have to assume that it left a track. And it wasn't very rocky along the road or even the tree line. So it went from like this massive being coming out, and then all of a sudden it looked like a boulder that looked like completely out of place because it wasn't like many other rocks there. So I would think that there would have been tracks and then also an impression of it from like crouching down.
Yeah. And after this experience, did you have any paranormal activity take place throughout your life? Anything strange? Any UFO encounters?
No, not after the encounter, but growing up, you know, my brothers and I, we would always have stories like where we felt like maybe we had abductions, based off of dreams, paralysis, and just other things. But that was like early on in our childhood. I've always been fascinated with, again, cryptids and then also aliens and things like that. But since the encounter, I've just been looking a lot at like Sasquatch theory, and other videos and podcasts to just like learn more. But no specific encounters since.
Okay. And like your family history, or do you guys have like any cryptids that you guys have talked about in the past? Anything like that?
Not outside of my own interest. I mean, on my mother's side, being from Trinidad, they have like a being. It's called like a Seconia, which is kind of like a ghost vampire type of spirits that they tell like horror stories, kind of like the boogeyman, like be careful, don't go out late at night, or if you misbehave, the Seconia is gonna come get you. So those kind of like childhood stories that we grew up with in Trinidad. Well, my mother grew up with Trinidad that she then, you know, retold to us.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Kenny, I appreciate you sharing the encounter. I don't know if I can think of any more questions since it was a short encounter, but I think you gave enough detail, and I should be able to pair it up with another interview and make a video out of it.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
And if you have any questions that you think of after the fact, be sure to just hit me up.
Yeah, I certainly will. And I appreciate you for getting in contact with me and logging down your encounter. Hopefully we'll be able to find more people with Sasquatch encounters from the area because you gave a few descriptions of the location.
All right, appreciate that. Yeah, sounds good. I'd love to hear if there were more stories,
Yeah, absolutely.
more encounters.
All right, well, I appreciate your time, and if you have another encounter, feel free to reach out, man.
All right, if you're ever in New York City, look me up, man.
Yeah, absolutely. You have a good day, and take care, my friend.
Thanks. You too.
Yep.
Bye.
Bye. All right, Kimberly, welcome to Sasquatch Theory. How are you doing today?
I'm good. How about you?
Oh, I am doing excellent. Kimberly, if you would, tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, and your Bigfoot encounter from the very beginning, please.
All right. My name's Kimberly Cruz. I'm originally from North Carolina, and I've lived here most of my life, and I have believed in Sasquatch for a very long time. And not recently, it's been a few years ago, had an encounter, is what I'll call it. I was taking my husband to work, and we lived on a very long, dark road that early in the morning. And when I was coming back, there's this deer come walking out of the road, and he was huge. So, of course, I had to slow down for him, and he was not in a hurry. So when I watched him go across the road, out of my peripheral, I saw something. There was this big open field, and I looked, and I could only see from like the shoulders up, but I saw the shoulders and the head, and whatever it was very tall, but it almost looked like a sheepdog, if you know. It was gray and white, and it just kind of watched me drive by. It was crazy, and it was all hairy, and that's the only thing that I can think that it was. I didn't see, I didn't see it standing there. I don't know if it was standing or what, because I couldn't see the bottom part, but that's my encounter. It slowly watched me drive by. It was crazy.
Okay. About how far off into that field do you think it was?
I would say probably about 20 yards, maybe. Wasn't very far at all.
Okay. And you said you can only see from like the waist and up, is that correct?
No, from like the shoulders up.
Okay, the shoulders up.
Like I said, I don't know if it was crouched down or whatever, but it had what looked like big black eyes, and the hair came almost in its eyes, but it was gray and white.
Yeah. And could you see any facial features?
No, it was all covered in hair.
Okay.
It was dark outside, so I really couldn't make out much except the eyes.
Okay, that makes sense. And do you think it was hunting the deer?
Probably.
Yeah.
Because it came right across the road after.
Oh, wow. And what time of year was this?
It was probably around 2013, and it was, I'll say, late October, early November. So it was just starting to get cool outside for North Carolina anyway.
Yeah. And have you experienced anything else unusual after that experience or that encounter?
Just that. That was it. That was enough for me because I'm infatuated with them. I keep talking about it to my husband, and he's like thinking I'm crazy. And I was like, it's okay, because one day they're gonna prove that they are real and exist.
Yeah. And have you heard or found any reports from that same area in the past?
No, I know there's I think it's a YouTube channel that does in Western North Carolina. They do some Sasquatching up that way, but as far as over where I'm at, no.
Yeah. And what direction was the Sasquatch coming from, and where was he going to? Like, is there deep forest over there, or some type of state park or national forest?
No, it's just deep woods, and he was coming from out of the woods it looked like it was coming up to the road where the deer crossed. That was the way it was coming. It was wild.
Yeah.
I get shaky just talking about it.
And when you drive past that spot, do you always look where you saw the possible Sasquatch?
Yep, and I see it in my head every time I think about it.
Yeah. You think about
like
it a
most
lot?
people, yes. Yes, because like I said, I'm infatuated with these things.
Yeah. What do you think they are?
I think it's a flesh and blood creature. I think they were here long before we were, and somehow, some way, they have found a way to exist. And it's not so much that they hide from us; it's they were here first, and they know where to go to get away from people. So
Yeah, yeah, that makes sense. And what do they grow in that field? Is it just tall grass, or is there like soybeans, corn? Do you know?
yeah, I think it's soybeans.
Okay.
It was
Yeah.
a big open field. It was in Cameron, North Carolina.
Okay.
Yep.
The woods, was it a pine forest?
That's all that's up here. Yeah,
Yeah, a lot of pines.
pines and oaks.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that sounds like it was a Sasquatch, and at least you got a brief look at it. I mean, I take a lot of reports, and typically the road crossing reports are pretty quick just because there it was and it's gone.
Yep, yep. I agree.
Okay.
If they want you to see them, they'll let you see them. But if not, then you won't.
Yeah. Have you ever tried going back there and looking, or is that just all private land, I guess?
No, but that's something I want to do. Like I watch you all the time, and I want to. I don't really want to do it myself, like by myself, but I would love to get like a group of people and start doing stuff like that on this side of North Carolina, just to see. I mean, I know they're here. I've seen it. Nobody can tell me otherwise. I know what I saw.
Yeah. And I believe you 100%. They're certainly out there, and there's a lot of reports from North Carolina. I've heard that locals in North Carolina are pretty close-minded about it, and a lot of people
They
that
are.
do experience it don't really want to talk about it for that reason.
Yep. So there's more people looking into the subject now. So
Yeah, yeah, I know a few research groups from North Carolina, and they seem to be pretty open about it, but I guess the rest of the population in that area just doesn't accept it. But it's weird because if you go to like Oregon or Washington State, even California, people are like, "Oh yeah, they're out there." Even people that haven't
yeah.
seen them, they're pretty open. But
Yep. I had a guy come fix my wall the other day, and he was telling me that his daughter lives up in Oregon and closer to Washington State. And he was saying that, they have a lot of sightings up there, and people talk about it freely. And I mean, what do these people got to gain, from telling you that they saw something,
yeah.
So
Do you have
crazy.
any questions for me?
No, I just wanted to share my story. I can tell you that I like when you go out to the killing fields. I like that.
Yeah, yeah, I plan on going out there more. It seems like there's been things going on out there, and that's where I'm going to focus my attention. But
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
yeah, I got a new video that I posted today about it, and I'm posting the investigation portion this Sunday, and probably another one during the week. So you'll have something
I'll
interesting
watch
to watch. Yeah.
Yep.
All right, Kimberly. Well, I appreciate your report and your willingness to openly talk about it. And yeah, if you experience anything else, feel free to reach out to me. And yeah, I'm very blessed to be able to talk to you today.
All right. Thank you so much, Miguel.
Yep. Thank you. And you have a wonderful day.
You too. Bye.
Bye. Russell, welcome to the show. How are you doing today?
Good. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing pretty good. Russell, if you would, tell me a little bit about yourself, where you're located, and what you experienced.
Okay. I grew up in the Kansas City area, actually in Raytown. I've been out of high school. I was in the Marine Corps. Been in law enforcement for 22 years, and last 7 years I changed professions. Full time, I drive a gas tanker currently, and I do law enforcement part time now for the past 7 years. So.
Okay. Yeah, very good.
Yeah.
What were you doing the day you had your experience? Could you run me through that? with as much detail as possible?
Yes, this happened at work. Like I said, I deliver fuel. I'm on night shift, and so it was my last stop. It happened, you see, two winters ago. So back in what, 2021, roughly around January, February time. I had a stop out off of 92 Highway, just west of Platte City, that's in Platte County, and it's a little gas station where 45 Highway meets 92 Highway. It's kind of like a crossroads thing, and it's in a heavily wooded area. It's by the river. It separates. It's right almost at Leavenworth, Kansas. So it's in between Platte City and Leavenworth.
Okay.
I think that's the Missouri River, if I'm not mistaken. Anyway, it's a heavily wooded area, and my last stop of the night is probably 2:30 in the morning, and I'm delivering fuel there. And where this gas station is, the drops are like right along this tree line back there on the little east side of the gas station. And it was cold out. There was snow on the ground. Like I said, it was right behind that tree line. I think there's a creek that runs back through there, and then it kind of goes up into some like a hilly area. So I'm delivering fuel, and place is closed. Nobody there except for one car pulled in. I remember getting fuel as I was delivering, and I'm on the side of my truck where I was delivering. So I faced the wooded area, not the gas station. And delivering fuel, and all of a sudden I hear this loud scream, like it was like everybody describes. It was deep. It sounded like somebody was being murdered out in the woods, and it was loud. Like I said, it was close enough to where I felt it. And like, I'm sure you've heard it. If you hear it, it's like an instant, you just freeze, you know. Mm-hmm. And I looked over at the guy fueling his car, and he looked over at me and hurried up and put his gas pump up, got in his car, and he sped out of there. And so I was just there by myself, and it was the longest scream. Like I said, it sounded like some female was getting murdered, and it was long and it was loud. And a few minutes later, I hear the what people describe as like the little monkey chattering or whatever. Like it was, it sounded like a couple chimpanzees, like kind of giggling back and forth to each other, and it was close. And I've always believed in, the possibility of Bigfoot, but that made me a believer. And I also deliver fuel right up 92 Highway meets 45 Highway just east of there, and we take that to go up into Weston, and past Weston there's a big power plant called Evergy, Iatan. And we deliver fuel up there. And I talked to a few guys, and there's one guy that they allow those guys that work there to hunt that property back there by the river, bow hunting. And I got to talking with one of the hunters up there that worked there, and he said that he was in a tree stand one morning, and it was dark, and two of them walked underneath of him, and he didn't make a noise. And that's what he told me happened back there. And that's not too far away from that area.
Yeah. So you think there was more than one in the wood line?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, it was so close. Like, I got up in the cab of my truck and I got my protection out. So it was, and I'm, like I said, I've been in law enforcement 22 years, and I'm not a small person. I mean, I've, lifted for years. I'm about 6'1", 300 pounds, and I'm not fat. So, I don't scare easily. And that thing, whatever it was, I don't know anything that has that kind of vocal power or the capacity in their lungs to do something like that. It wasn't no damn cat. It wasn't, it's just that's how I can explain it. It was just like I wanted to go back there and look for footprints the next day because it was so close. I've never heard anything like that. Like I said, I've been, in the Marine Corps, I've been in the desert, and I've heard all kinds of stuff. I'm not a big hunter. I've never really hunted, but I've heard, things. But yeah, that made me a believer right there. That really got me into researching it more, and which led me to your channel and to others too. I've seen a bunch of them. So
Yeah. What do you think the creature was screaming about?
I don't know. I don't know what it was screaming about, but um, I have my opinions on what they are. What they're about. Um, I believe that they're flesh and blood. I believe that they are a a species that God created. I think they're just another animal out there. Um, I think God gave them their abilities that they have. I hear people say that they're really fast and they're quick, and I know they have I believe they have they're family oriented, and they have their own language structure. And like certain animals have certain powers, like cats, they can jump really good, birds, they can fly. I think these things have the ability to, they're masters of the wilderness, to hunt and to be able to survive. Unlike what we can do, we have, you know, powers of the mind to create things, tools and have that sort of thing. But I do think that they have intelligence, and I believe that they can. And I think the reason why there's not as many, um, people go missing and things, and people think it's because of them. I think there's different ones. I think they have um, personalities, and I think every encounter is probably different. I think they all have their own, way of dealing with things. Like they see people out in the woods. I think, I think some encounters are good and some are bad. It just depends on the situation and what's going on in the area and how they're doing. Kind of what's going on in there, what they see is going on.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I
I
think.
I think they have an ability to reason.
Hmm.
Just like I hear stories of, like hunters will shoot a deer and it'll go out there and rip half of it apart and take half of it, leaving the other half for the hunter. I think they, just like some people say they had them in their crosshairs where they couldn't shoot it because it looked almost human. I think they see us as not as food, because that we look kind of like them without the hair for the most part, just smaller. So they probably, in my opinion, they probably see us as, that's not really something that we eat. It's just, we probably see them like they see us, like let's, maybe they look at us like, we're, cousins of them or something, who knows? But I think that's why they're not out there just killing people because as far as I know, there's, you hear the ones down in Texas are like more aggressive, and the ones up a little farther up here are not as aggressive. I think there's different types of them, just like there's different types of us. Like, we have Chinese and black people and white people. And, I think there's different species, not species, but different, like some of them are white, some of them are dark, they just have the different ones in different parts of the, the country.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
To fit, to fit their environment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they could see us like as a brother, like a relative, but maybe like they see us as being lost and somehow we lost our way just because of how controlled we are and the way we do everything, and they live so freely. So maybe they choose to stay away from us for that reason.
Yeah, absolutely. And I just think they're just another, another animal that God created that's out there. And I think they're very family oriented. And people say, well, how come we haven't found any bodies? Well, I think they take care of their dead. I think they're very family oriented. And, if I was out in the wilderness, the only way I'd even shoot one is if my life depended on it, because I would hate to shoot something that, I guess, mystical or whatever, because if you shoot like the alpha male out of a family like that, that's going to devastate that pack. I think, I think it'd really be a bad thing for the survival of the other ones. I would hate to shoot one, you know, if it wasn't for self defense, I would not I would not go out there just to shoot one. I would love to see one, a good encounter, of course, but because I believe in them.
Yeah.
And
what county
like I said,
did you say you heard the vocalization?
This was in Platte County.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a little Cenex gas station right at the corner of 45 Highway and 92 Highway. Like I said, Platte City is a suburb of Kansas City, just northwest of the airport, the KCI International Airport, and it's very wooded up there. And like I said, you hit Platte City, you take 92 Highway. If you run that through, it'll take you to Leavenworth, Kansas, right on the other side of the river, and it's sitting right in between Platte City and Leavenworth. It's a lot closer to Leavenworth. It's probably a couple miles away from the river, maybe 1 mile.
Yeah, so it happened fairly close to the river.
Yeah, and on my way to, like when I go to that power plant, I take the same highway, 92 Highway, and it branches off. You could take 45 Highway that goes up through Weston. It's a little town called Weston. And once you pass Weston and go up through there, there's a obvious tree break right next to the highway right there, on this like slope on this hill. And it's just obvious what it is. I mean, there's no other trees around. It's like on this it's a pretty steep hill, and it's right there on the side of the road, and it's just a broken tree limb. And it's like, what else could have done that, And I have another friend of mine who's a police officer down in Cass County, just a county south of. I live in Jackson County, and that's basically the metro Kansas City area on the Missouri side. There's KCK, which is Kansas City, Kansas, which is on the Kansas side. You got KC-Mo. The county just south of Jackson. A friend of mine, he worked in a little lake community there. It was Lake Wacoma's police department, and he was out in the woods, had his car backed in, and he heard a big scream like that too. Him and I talked about it. He's heard the same thing.
Yeah. Do you think it was a male or female?
I think it was a male. If I was to guess, I mean, I'm sure the females are very powerful and vocalized too, but I do believe that this is a male, and he was close. I mean, it was incredible, the noise this thing made. I mean, it was unbelievable.
Yeah. Well,
and
they're out there, that's for sure.
Yeah. Like I said, I currently am a deputy part-time in Ray County, which is a county just to the east of Jackson and Clay County. And the Missouri River runs along the south side of our county. And I know there's a lot of activity in Ray County too. I've heard different people talk about things up in Ray County as well. It's very heavily wooded, that whole county. It's more of a rural county. I looked on that, whatever that website is, that BFRO or something website, and you can see different locations in the state or wherever that shows reports. And in Jackson County, there's a spot called Monkey Mountain, and I guess there's a ton of reports in that area, which is just to the east of where I live. I actually live in a suburb of Kansas City called Blue Springs. So the Monkey Mountain, I think, is in between Grand Valley and Oak Grove within Jackson County.
Why do you think they named it Monkey Mountain? Do you think it has anything
I
to
have
do
no
with the
idea.
Sasquatch?
It probably does.
Yeah.
It probably does. With the fuel company I work for, I drive up to Iowa, and there's a certain house that I pass every time. And on the side of their house, it's like north of Maryville, right off of 148 highway that goes up into Iowa. There's a house, and it's got this big, like a big silhouette of Sasquatch on the side of their house, and then the smaller one underneath it. So they probably know something. They're going to put it on the side of their house. I mean, it's out there. I mean, I believe it, and people that don't believe they just haven't. I don't think they have experienced it, or they live in the city so much. I don't think it's possible, but they're out there. There's no doubt in my mind.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you guys receive phone calls at the
sheriff's office?
Yeah, at the sheriff's office. And is there like a hotline to call, like if people are having Sasquatch problems? Do you know of anything like that?
No, I haven't. I haven't really talked to anybody out there about it. Like I said, I just work there part time as a reserve. Like I'll go on my days off and work road patrol. Um, but I haven't heard of anything like that. I mean, I've always wanted to mention it to our sheriff or maybe the other guys, but I'm not. I'm not too sure about if they've had any calls about something like that. Usually, if there is, it's probably a prowler call. They'll probably come in as somebody's in my barn or something, and you get out there. And I believe that if they want to be seen, they'll let you know. And yeah, I think they're the masters in the wilderness. I think they are meant to be out there. Like they are designed to live out in the woods. Like their abilities to run down deer and their strength. I mean, it's incredible what these things are capable of. I can only imagine, and I do believe that our government definitely knows about them. I think that they have been caught, and I think our government hides a lot of stuff, but that's just my opinion. The whole dogman thing, I guess there's people that's talked about them since back in the day, a long time ago, but I do think there is a version in America that is a messed up experiment from our government. I think that they have dabbled in like some sort of ultimate warrior thing or something, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I wonder that with certain things that are going on in the world, like if maybe like
Yeah.
we opened up a portal. I don't know how, but somehow. But no,
Yeah, I think I think with the dogman, I think they've experimented with maybe man and something in that along those lines, because it just seems like every encounter, there's really no reasoning with those things. It's just they're just ultimate killers. And
yeah, with Bigfoot, it's like maybe, but with Dogman, it's like there's something not right about that.
Yeah, because everybody say it's evil. I think it's a messed up experiment from our messed up government. And somehow it got out there or something. But I've heard of cops shooting those things, and SUVs pull up and take the body, and just say, don't say shit about this. You know what I mean? So, but with Bigfoot, I think, and Sasquatch, I think they're family oriented, and I think that they have a purpose in our ecosystem, just like any other animal. I think they're flesh and blood, and I think that they're extremely capable, and I think they're very, very smart in a different way, and they communicate, and I think they're amazing, amazing creatures. And like I said, I would love to have an actual encounter and see one. Like I said, I would never shoot one to kill it, because I think that each member of their, I guess they call them pods. I think each member is a very important part of their family, especially the alpha male. So I would never want to kill something that would, hurt their family at all.
Yeah, I agree. And like people always mention, there's good people, there's bad people. You have, I don't know, the opposite with everything. So I'm sure there's like good cryptids and bad cryptids. Yeah.
Or, you get the ones that, the only experience they've had with people, they got shot at, or they did get shot and they healed from their wounds. And they're like, okay, every time I see one of these, these other things, they're shooting at us or they're trying to hurt us. And so, they have just like if you get mugged by somebody, you're forever going to have an opinion about that race. You know what I mean? It's like, they're all bad. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's probably the same thing. I mean, that they form their opinion on what they've experienced with, like, we know not to pick up spiders, they bite you, you know what I mean? So I think it's kind of like that,
Yeah, and I think of them like Navy SEALs. Like they're better than Navy SEAls. They're kind of like a ghost, and they are masters of the woods.
Oh, they are, definitely. And I think that they defend their family, and I think that's And they do get curious and they do get hungry. And if they see an easy meal, they're going to take it, like any other animal would, like a hyena or something else, something kills something, they're going to, it's just their instinct to go take it. Or if they see a chicken in somebody's farm, they're going to take it, you know what I mean? Or whatever. I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
if they really wanted to kill us out in the woods or our property,
Mhm.
they have the skill, the strength, and the power to just kick in your door and just rip people apart. I mean, they don't have to just sit out there and throw rocks at you. They could just walk in and just, they're so stealthy and masters of what they do that,
Yeah,
you know,
because
they would have no problem just to kill people. So I don't think that they're out there trying to harm us. I just think they're curious and, you know, of course they're going to defend their young if you're too close or whatever. But when they're throwing rocks at you, I think it's just their way of saying, we're here, get out of here.
Yeah, and I think there shouldn't be, but like if it were so easy to kill one, like Bass Pro Cabela's would have one here and there throughout North America, but it kind of shows like how good they are to avoid that many hunters for that many years. And I mean, they have been shot and people claim to have killed them, but I just don't think. I think they're a lot better than us at hunting.
Oh, absolutely. And even if you did go out there and want to shoot them, I don't think it would be a good thing because if there's one out there, there's more. They're not out there by themselves. There's a pack of them, and they hunt that way. And I think they find deer and they flank them, and they want to just like on Jurassic Park with those dinosaurs, one will be a decoy, the other one will be there to catch them at the other side or something. I mean, they're very smart animals, and I think if you shot one, I don't think you'd make it out of there. I really think that if you were out there and you put one down and you're out there, I don't think that you would. It'd be pretty amazing if you actually made it out of there without them, surrounding you and killing you.
Yeah, maybe if you did it from a vehicle and got out of there, but yeah, if you're
yeah. But
there.
if you're out there, if you're out there in a deer stand and you put one down, I mean, if they know you're there, or if you shot it from a distance, if you take a shot at it and kill it from a distance, you might have a chance because they don't know you're there. But if they know where you're at and you shoot one, yeah, I think you're not making it out of there. And that's why I think when they die, they take care of their dead. They do something with the body, just like we do. We don't just leave our elderly laying in their bed, and they're dead or out in the woods or something. We bury them or we do what we do with them,
Yeah. All right, Russell. Well, I think that pretty well covers your experience, and I appreciate you for getting in contact with me, and it was a pleasure to log it down.
Absolutely, yeah. Like I said, I've watched a lot of your videos. I really like the Missouri ones because, of course, I'm from here.
Yeah, same here. Those are my favorite.
Yeah. There's a lot of activity down, like that old boy you interviewed.
Yeah, David.
Gosh, down there by the.
From the killing fields.
Him. David. Is that the guy with he was talking about they found some old man dead in the water over there in the creek or something?
No, that's a different one. Yeah.
Yeah, who's that guy down there? What river is that down there?
That's by the St. Francis, I believe.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, down that way. Yeah, they lived out in the property out there, and watched him. And I watched David. He's not into hunting. I could tell that old boy. He don't like to shoot the animals. He likes to feed them.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, he seems like a really good dude.
Yeah, he's a really good guy.
Yeah. But I would like to get out there and see one sometime, and actually put my eyes on one because I know they're real. It'd just be an amazing experience. Like I said, I'm not going to go out there and start hooting and hollering or nothing. I want to mess nothing up, but it would be really neat to encounter one.
Yeah, as long as you spend time out there and go every now and then, you never know, you might run into one.
Yeah. Like I'm not trying to mess up their thing or nothing or go out there and act stupid or nothing like that. But it would be really, I think it'd be an amazing experience to actually see one. Maybe from afar. I wouldn't want to piss one off or anything like that because, like I said, I don't want to shoot one.
Yeah. Yeah. Neither do I.
Yeah. Yep.
All
But
right.
yeah, I appreciate the callback, man. I really do. I've told a few friends about it, and like I said, I'll tell anybody about it because I don't care what they think, or people say I don't say anything because I'm, they're afraid of, being called names or whatever. I don't care. I mean, I know what I know. So
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. All right. Well, you'll have to let me know if you run into anything else or hear of anyone who
perfect,
had an encounter.
perfect. Yeah. If you ever feel like doing a ride along up here, I could show you the county up in Ray County. Take you out there in the patrol car and show you around up there. Maybe you could set up and do some camping up there or something.
Okay. Yeah. Definitely
Yeah.
let me know what you have planned, and yeah, we'll keep in touch, man.
All right. I appreciate it.
Yeah, me too. You take care, Russell, and it was good talking to you, man.
You too. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Yeah, it sounds like Sasquatch. Well, if you would, Russell, run me through your encounter, where you were, what you were doing, and kind of what happened.
Okay, well, this was, I'm going to say, late 85, early 86. I'm from St. Joe, Missouri, and I went down to Mobile, Alabama. I was trying to find a job. Things weren't real good here, and so I went down there and I spent a couple weeks down there. Well, I had a job here and I had to get back, so I didn't have no way to get back other than hitchhike. It was the dumbest thing I ever did in my life. So my brother dropped me off on Interstate 10, and it wasn't long. A truck driver picked me up, and I dozed off and on the trip. He told me he was going so far and he was going to drop me off. So I'm, like I said, falling asleep, dozing off and on. And he stops. He said, well, this as far as I'm going. And it was on Interstate 55 northbound. And I asked him what time it was, and it was 1:30 in the morning. So I look out of the windshield of the truck, and it's like, oh boy, it's dark. And I thought, well, so I get out. Well, you know what you got to do. So I start walking, and the highways were lit, but the timber line along the highway was not. It was like looking into a wall of darkness. And I'm just walking along, and all of a sudden, something starts walking with me. And I mean, it's like something was standing there. And when I took off walking, or maybe got beside it or right even with it, it took off with me. So I'm walking along, couldn't have been more than 50 yards or so. And all of a sudden, I started hearing leaves in the tree line stepping exactly every step. And I mean, it stopped me on a dime. I stopped, and I felt this rush from bottom of my feet to the top of my head. I felt this rush come over me, and it's like, whoa, what is that? And I stopped, and I'm just looking into, like I said, a wall of darkness, and I can't see anything. Well, I take off walking again. As soon as I do, it does. So I stop again, and I'm standing there. I'm just trying to look into this, like I said, just a wall of darkness. And I don't see anything. I don't really hear anything. So I take off walking again, and it starts walking with me again. And the third time I stopped, it stopped. And then I started hearing a humming sound, and I'm thinking, oh boy, I hope that's what I think. And I turn around, there's a car coming. And I said, I hope they stop, because I didn't really want to find out what was walking beside me at 1:30 in the morning. And the guy stopped, and he picked me up, and I felt so much relief. And that was the encounter. I mean, that's all it was. And I told the guy, I said, I'm sure glad you stopped, because something was walking beside me in the tree line, and he didn't even really respond to me. But years later, I'm listening to what's the Odyssey? Not Odyssey, Chronicles, Sasquatch Chronicles.
Yeah.
and I heard a guy talking about pacing. And then all that time I'd remembered that, and it just like was a gut punch. And it never, I didn't even think nothing back then. I was just thinking what could follow a person and step exactly how I'm stepping. And I said it gave me a very bad sinking feeling, because what if the guy wouldn't have stopped? Would I have found out what was following me, or would I have? I don't know. It was just it was scary as hell.
Yeah.
And I sat and thought how, what animal does that? And I don't know any. And that's about it. I mean,
okay. What area did you say this was in?
It was in the bottom of south of Mississippi. I mean, all the way down in the south, because Interstate 10 intersects with Interstate 55, and then it goes straight on up, all the way up to Missouri. And like I said, it was 1:30 in the morning, and it was just a really scary situation.
Yeah, I've had the same thing happen one time whenever I was bow hunting. I got down a little early right before it got dark, and I had a long walk back to my truck at the parking lot. And whenever I was walking, something started pacing me, and I would stop, it would stop. I'd start walking, it would start walking, and then it would repeat. And I heard something coming up behind me, and it was two younger boys on e-bikes, and they just flew right past me, and they were gone really quick, and I just got really spooked, so I started booking it. But I had all my gear, so I couldn't like run, so it was just like a fast walk, and it kept following me, and eventually it just stopped, and I made it back. But that's what I think it was, because there's been a lot of reports in that particular area, and I've heard the Sasquatch like to pace people.
Well, I've heard some stuff about Mississippi too. I heard that's a really popular place for encounters. And then that story I'd heard about that young kid, I guess he was on a survey crew. He was following his friends or his coworkers, and they turned around and he's gone, and they never found him. They found his T-shirt in a swamp later, but they never found him. And that made me think, oh boy, could it, I don't know. I think it's just terrifying that I think we have something like that. I mean, most people I know, they don't give a second thought. They don't care. It just kind of, it makes me afraid to think there's something like that we share our planet with, or maybe they share I don't know, that they're here. And I absolutely believe in them. And
yeah, I've heard reports in St. Joe as well, Missouri.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Well, around St. Joe Park. I don't know if that's the same area, but
we got a lot of timber. We got a lot of timber up here.
Mm-hmm. There's a lot of stuff going on around there too.
And we got the bluffs. I mean, I heard a man say one time, well, there's nowhere in America that something like that could exist. There's just not enough space. And it's like, are you crazy? There's so much open timber in this country that humans have never set foot on. So it'd be very easy.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And that's the only thing you ever had happen? Nothing else strange?
No. Well, I'll say that, yes, but I've had little friends in the sky, lots of those here, lots of them. So many, I just quit thinking about it. And, I mean, I had a daylight one day, and it was in your face, looking right up at it. I pulled over on the side of the road, and that's when it decided to go up in the clouds. But it was just right in my face. And I couldn't believe I'm looking on the road going, does anybody else see what I'm looking at? And I guess they didn't. This crazy thing I ever saw.
What it looked like?
Well, you got to go down a highway where I live, and it splits off. And in the background, there's towers. So you got to go around this little bend on the road, and I seen it from there. I seen it, and it was the most brilliant white light you could imagine, with a yellow perimeter around it. So I'm looking at this as I'm driving towards it, like, what is that? And it was complete cloud cover, north, south, east, west. The sky was completely cloud covered. And I drive up, I keep looking at it, and I thought, well, I'm going to pull over. Didn't even think about taking a picture of it. I don't know why. I was so fascinated with what I was looking at. It's like, and as soon as I pulled off on the shoulder, I'm looking at it. This thing turns the prettiest blue color with a red perimeter around it. And then just slowly went up in the clouds. I mean, just I'm sitting there going, are you kidding me? This wasn't a drone. Because for something to produce, I'm a maintenance man, and for something to produce that kind of light, you're going to need some major power. And batteries ain't going to do it. But the other thing I thought was amazing about it is, as bright as it was barely lighting the clouds around it. I mean, you could see some light blue in the clouds, but I figured what I was looking at the bottom of it. And I'd say if I had to put a size, Volkswagen, something like that, probably about size. And I've seen so many things. I actually got a front row seat to Starlink one night here at my house. I mean, front row. I've seen the rocket or whatever they send up, and I've seen them coming out one at a time in a long line. But it's all the other stuff that was flying around it that wasn't Starlink, because there was lights coming from east, west, south. They were coming from all directions right to this stream of satellites. One of them, actually, there were two going side by side, and one of them did a 90-degree heading east or heading west, and then went north in the same direction all the satellites were going. And I don't know what can do a 90-degree turn that fast. I mean, it was like a 90-degree turn straight and just turn right. And I've seen things here that lights going across sky that just shut off, blink off. I've seen one night that kind of, as it was going, it would pulse and dim and pulse a little more and then dim till it just disappeared. My stepson and I was standing outside one day. We seen it, and he's like, "What's that?" I don't have a clue. See them all the time, and they're not airplanes.
Do you think the Sasquatch are connected to these UFOs? Possibly.
I think there's got to be some kind of connection. I don't know what. I was watching a video the other day, and I seen one, and you're looking at the being that they were filming. Yeah, I don't know, but the video was it was distorted, like something was causing this camera to just not. And you see this thing come out of a tree line, go back in, and then right above it, you see this red light appear up in the trees and then go up. And then in the background, you can see another light. It was just kind of hanging back in the trees. But I don't know. I honestly don't think we truly understand what this planet is about, what's on it, what has been on it, what's going on. I honestly feel that way. We just don't. We don't have a clue, and we're not wired for it. That's why I tell my wife, you tell somebody Sasquatch, well, we're not wired for that. So most people ain't going to believe it. We're not wired for UFOs. We're just not. as our species, I don't feel we're wired to see stuff like that and then go, okay, it's real.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you think that maybe you've been abducted before since you've seen so many lights? Anything like that?
I had my, I don't know. I don't know if I want to go that far, but I just, I don't know. This said, I've seen so many things around the skies of my house. Like I said, I just quit looking for it because it got to be so common at one time. Every time I'd go outside, I'd see something. They're not satellites. They're because these are coming from all different directions. I was sitting on my front deck smoking, talking to my brother one day, and I'm just looking straight south, and I see these two lights, and just looking, I know stars. They got the saying, "Twinkle, stars twinkle, planets don't." Well, this light just took off, goes straight up, and then it just vanished, just shut off like a light switch. And I'm like, really? Yeah, I'm going to say probably 9, 10 times I've seen stuff like that go on around the skies, but I also live very close to a military airport, and they're not planes. I mean, planes don't just shut off, and they don't have any kind of beacons. They're just white lights, just plain white lights.
Yeah. What do you think would have happened if you didn't get picked up that day when you were being stalked by a possible Sasquatch?
That's I don't know. That's like I said, it was a gut punch because I'm thinking now, even to this day, I still get the same feeling. What if I didn't get picked up? Would I be here? Would I have found out what was there? Because I mean, like I said, it was 1:30 in the morning. Nobody would have had a clue because there was absolutely no traffic, and this guy just happened to come along. And sometimes I think it's the grace of God that he came along, because whatever it was, kept doing it. It kept pacing me, and I don't think it would have stopped. And it did it step for step. And I mean, when I started, it started. When I stopped, it stopped. Step for step. Not a wait, hesitant. It was exactly as I was stepping, and I could hear it crunching. I could hear the leaves crunching. I don't want to say so much leaves because it was the middle of summer. No, it wasn't cold. And I don't know if you're aware of I-55. It's just got pine trees for miles and miles down the side. Could have been walking in needles because it didn't necessarily sound heavy.
But it sounded bipedal.
Oh, yeah. I guarantee it was 2 feet. I mean, yeah, it was. I started thinking, is that my footsteps echoing over there? No, it's not. That sounds like something crunching, and I'm walking on asphalt or the shoulder. No, it was definitely 2 feet. Because when I said I'd never do it again, but when I was walking, I walked, and I walked as fast as I could physically walk, and this thing was just, yeah, it scared the crap out of me. I felt a rush come over me the first time, and it went from head to top, from the bottom of my feet to the top of my head, just this rush of fear. And I was thinking, well, you're here and you ain't got nothing else to do but walk, so keep on. And I did, and it kept pacing me. And said I just listening to Sasquatch Chronicles that hit me that day. It just literally like, what? Okay, could it have been that? Because I don't know if you've ever seen Invest, heard of Invest. I don't think they do it they don't do it anymore, but they got a lot of good videos. And that's where it was at in Mississippi. And I did want to ask you, you are a researcher, and I've watched hours and hours of your video. You hooked me with the killing fields. That was the very first video I ever watched of you. I was just scrolling through and killing fields, and I watched it. I loved it. Watched all of them, and I know a lot of researchers. I've heard them offer, "Hey, watch our videos. If you see something, let us know." I was watching a video. I don't watch him anymore because I don't know. He's kind of think he's kind of rude. The guy kind of, but crypto reality. I've never been on Patreon before. I don't have any media channel, nothing. Facebook, I've never had any of them. Twitter, nothing. So I thought it'd be cool. So my stepson set me up on Patreon, and he paid for it because I can't use my credit card online. I set it up that way, or my debit card. Well, when he set it up, it went to an email I had years ago. And when it wanted me to verify my email, I didn't remember my password. And he tried to fix it. He couldn't do it. Well, I sent him like 4 texts or emails, seeing stuff in his videos. And he blocked me, and it was embarrassing. I was like, what? That's embarrassing. But so.
Well, I appreciate you for watching my show, and yeah, that's what I think it was. I think that was a Sasquatch following you, and I'm glad you made it out. Okay.
I was wanting to ask you, as a researcher, there's one video, just one video. I will guarantee if somebody saw it, if they knew they taped it, they would show it, because nothing on this planet can move that fast. Nothing breathing oxygen can move that fast. And he's got a video where him and these other guys are walking through, I guess, what do they call them, like prairies down in Florida. And he's filming these guys. They're just walking along. And I don't know if he's doing it for effects, but he's got the camera down low and he's going through the grass knee high. And he brings it up. And I've showed this several people, and they're like, what the hell is that? I don't have a clue. But he catches something on tape. And I mean, this thing is so fast. On quarter speed, it gets blurry before it leaves the screen. And I was wanting to ask you, and you will never hear from me again, if you would watch that video and see it.
Yeah.
Nothing can move that fast. And I want a researcher, and I feel it'd be an honor for you to do it, because I think you're one of the best out there. You don't bash everybody else. I just like watching you. I enjoy it. And if you would, I will email you the name of the video and the timestamp.
Okay. Yeah, I'll check it out for sure, and I'll let you know what I think.
What you're going to see, you got to watch for it, because I found it accidentally. And if he's seen it, he would show it. Any researcher videotape this, they would show it, just for how fast this thing is. And that said, it terrifies me to think there's something that could possibly be that big and be that fast, where it could maybe like snatch you up and carry you off and nobody would ever know. Because this thing, you're going to have to see it to believe how fast this thing is. And I think it's doing that thing they call the spider crawl, because all you see is its back. That's all you see. It comes out of this kind of tall shrub. You see it come out, stop, and then take off again. And I want to say it almost looks like it's getting ready to come up, like it's coming up to run, but I can't tell for sure. I don't have a computer. I just have an iPad. But you got to look for.
Okay.
He's filming behind 2 gentlemen, and you'll see it come out behind these shrubs, stop, and then take off again. And
well, I'll certainly check it out. Feel free to share it with me, and I'll give you my take on it.
I can't email you. I tried to email you once and it never went through.
You can try Facebook. I got a Sasquatch Theory page. Okay.
I don't have any.
Yeah, either email or social media. That'd be the only way. Or you can text me. You can text me the link.
Title right now. I got it right up.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. It's called When You Get Into Thinking One Thing. This is the thumbnail or whatever they call it. You get into this thinking one thing and you find out science is way off. That's the name of the video. It's on Crypto Reality. And
okay, yeah, I've seen that before. I know what you're talking about. Yeah, Mark has pointed that out, and you can see like something duck down and something shoot across the screen.
No. This you're gonna have to see. I'm telling you, you're gonna have to see this to believe it. It's crazy how fast this thing. It is blurring fast, and it starts at. Let me see.
Well, it's not coming up for me, so you'd have to share it. Yeah, I'm not seeing it.
It's on Crypto Reality. It's you get into this thinking one thing and you find out science is way off here. That's what the title's called.
Yeah, that's what I typed in. I just don't see Crypto Reality video or any Bigfoot video. Yeah, you'd have to share it just because there's so many videos on YouTube. Maybe you can text it to me.
Channel. Okay, I can text it to you. This number, the one you just called me on, or the one I called you on earlier?
No, either one. Either one will work.
Okay. And like I said, I don't know how you guys do about looking at sharing or seeing other people's videos. I don't know if you guys have all copyright or nothing, but when you see this, you are going to be amazed. And I'm telling you this, nothing on the planet can accelerate that fast. Nothing. But I appreciate you calling me.
Yeah, it's no problem. And I appreciate you sharing your report. Are you okay with me posting your report on the channel? Will that be all right?
Sure, absolutely.
Okay. Yeah, and I'll be looking forward to the Crypto Reality video, and I'll let you know what I think.
Okay.
All right, Russell. Well, I'm going to go ahead and get off of here and call the next person. And, yeah, I look forward to talking to you again.
Okay. Well, thank you.
Yep. You have a good one, sir, and Merry Christmas.
You too.
All right. Take care.
Bye.
All right. Thank you very much to the 4 guests who were willing to talk about their encounters and experiences. And I thought the audio from Kimberly's interview was pretty good, and she got straight to the point. And sometimes when people have a quick encounter like that from the road, it's not a very long interview. But yeah, I appreciate everyone for sharing their experiences, thoughts, and theories. And if you have a Bigfoot encounter that you would like to share, please contact me sometime. I would really like to hear about it. But yeah, we have more Bigfoot interviews that are going to be out on the channel soon, and some of them are pretty good. And there's some paranormal ones that will really make you rethink the whole Sasquatch topic if they are true, and I believe they are. Some of the people seemed really adamant about what they experienced, and guys, it's going to blow your mind. I mean that. But yeah, guys, I'm going to go cook some dinner. I'm making some steak tacos, of course, and I'm going to go to the gym after that. Tomorrow, I have a Bigfoot interview in Licking, Missouri, and it's going to be a good one, guys. So stay tuned for future videos, and I appreciate everyone for watching. Thank you so much, and be safe, everyone.